As we age, many of us find that our social needs and preferences change. While we may have once enjoyed bustling gatherings and frequent visits with friends, a shift often occurs as we get older, especially between the ages of 65 and 80. Some begin to gravitate towards solitude, appreciating the peace and calm that comes with spending time alone rather than constantly socializing. But why is this the case? Why do some older adults choose a quieter life, and how can embracing solitude be a healthy choice in the later years of life? In this video, we'll explore 3 insightful reasons why solitude can be beneficial for older adults. Through the stories of individuals like Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Li, we'll uncover the importance of respecting personal boundaries, the joy of independence, and how a more peaceful lifestyle can lead to greater happiness. By the end of this video, you'll gain a better understanding of why choosing solitude over social gatherings can sometimes be the key to a more content and fulfilling life in your golden years. Before we dive into the stories, please take a moment to like this video if you find it valuable. Your support helps us continue sharing important lessons on aging. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing and turning on the bell so you never miss out on our future videos. If you enjoy this video, please comment 1, and if it's not quite your cup of tea, comment 0. I'd love to hear your thoughts to improve future content. Now, let's get started. Mr. Zhang's story, Finding Comfort in Solitude. Mr. Zhang, now in his 60s, has experienced a profound shift in his lifestyle. In his younger years, he enjoyed socializing with friends and attending various social events. He thrived in the lively energy of these gatherings. However, as time passed, he began to appreciate the quieter moments of life. Now, he finds comfort and peace in solitude, savoring the tranquility that comes from being alone. Whether it's sitting with a cup of tea, tending to his garden, or simply reflecting on his day, Mr. Zhang has come to value these quiet activities over the more hectic social interactions that once filled his calendar. In fact, when Mr. Zhang feels the urge to be social, he often prefers meeting at a local cafe or restaurant rather than hosting people at his own home. He enjoys the casual nature of these outings, where the focus is on conversation rather than the pressure of maintaining a perfect social environment. This shift in how he socializes has raised a few eyebrows among his relatives and friends. One relative remarked, "You used to be so warm and welcoming, why have you become so distant?" But Mr. Zhang, reflecting on the changes in his life, explained that aging brings about a shift in priorities. What once felt essential, attending every gathering or maintaining large circles of friends, has now given way to a preference for simplicity and calm. He has realized that as we age, we often become less concerned with the superficial aspects of social life. In his younger years, he found joy in the vibrancy of busy social circles, but now he finds satisfaction in the small, meaningful activities that fill his days. For Mr. Zhang, the key to happiness lies not in constant socializing, but in living in tune with his own needs and desires. He has come to understand that not every relationship needs to be maintained if it no longer brings joy or fulfillment. Instead, he has distanced himself from relationships that feel shallow or draining, choosing instead to focus on those that are genuine and nurturing. The peace of solitude. Mr. Zhang's story is not unique. Many older adults find themselves similarly inclined to embrace solitude. As we age, our energy and interests often shift, and we may feel less compelled to engage in social activities that once seemed important. For some, the effort required to maintain these social connections can feel more burdensome than enjoyable. Instead, they find contentment in the quiet of their own company, engaging in hobbies, spending time with loved ones, or simply reflecting on life. There are several reasons why this shift is not only normal, but also healthy. 1. Social visits can be disruptive. As we age, our personal space and routines become more precious. The effort to maintain social connections can sometimes feel intrusive or disruptive. While visiting friends or family may seem like a kind gesture, it can sometimes unintentionally interfere with the peaceful rhythms of everyday life. This is a lesson that Mr. Wong learned the hard way. Mr. Wong, a man who enjoys good company but often finds himself alone, was invited by an old high school classmate to come over for drinks one afternoon. The invitation felt like a pleasant surprise, and Mr. Wong, longing for companionship, eagerly accepted. What started as a one-time visit quickly turned into a regular weekend tradition. However, over time, Mr. Wong noticed subtle changes. His friend's family, once warm and welcoming, seemed to retreat into their private spaces whenever he visited. Despite these signs, Mr. Wong continued his visits, unaware that his presence was starting to cause discomfort. Eventually, his classmate sat down with him and gently explained the situation. "We've enjoyed having you over," he said, "but my wife and children have started to feel like their privacy is being invaded. They're not used to having guests every weekend, and it's affecting our family time." This realization hit Mr. Wong hard. What he had thought was a gesture of friendship had inadvertently disrupted the dynamics of his friend's household. This experience taught Mr. Wong an important lesson about boundaries. Sometimes, even well-meaning visits can cross a line, especially if the frequency or timing doesn't align with others' needs. His story highlights the importance of being sensitive to the social cues and boundaries of others. While social invitations are often made with good intentions, it's essential to pay attention to the needs and comfort of those we visit. Understanding when to step back is just as important as knowing when to step forward. 1. Changing social priorities. As we age, our social priorities often change. What once seemed vital, attending large parties or socializing with a wide circle of acquaintances, may no longer hold the same appeal. Many older adults find themselves drawn to a more intimate, peaceful lifestyle, preferring smaller, more meaningful interactions over large gatherings. This shift allows them to focus on the relationships and activities that bring them genuine happiness. 1. Emotional and physical energy. Maintaining active social relationships requires a certain amount of emotional and physical energy. As we age, our energy levels naturally decrease, and we may find that we have less patience or desire to engage in lengthy social interactions. This is completely normal and part of the aging process. Embracing solitude allows older adults to conserve their energy for activities that truly bring them joy and fulfillment, rather than expending it on social obligations that may no longer feel meaningful. The wisdom of solitude. Ultimately, the decision to embrace solitude in later life is not about rejecting others or isolating oneself. Rather, it is about recognizing the value of quiet moments, respecting personal boundaries, and making space for the things that matter most. As Mr. Zhang's story illustrates, the golden years are a time to embrace simplicity, focus on meaningful relationships, and live in harmony with one's own needs. By respecting our own desires for peace and solitude, we can enjoy a more balanced and fulfilling life, rich with the quiet joy of being true to ourselves. In life, certain lessons resonate deeply, shaping the way we interact with others and approach our relationships. Mr. Wong's teaching is a profound reminder of the value of respecting personal space and the fine line we walk to maintain healthy, respectful relationships. If you're still following along and finding these insights valuable, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still here, and thank you for spending your precious time with me. The pitfalls of frequent visits. The first important lesson I'd like to share involves the unintended consequences of frequent visits. Have you ever witnessed or experienced a simple comment spiraling into something much bigger? It's more common than you might think. Mrs. Lee's experience is a striking example of how harmless remarks can quickly lead to misunderstandings with significant repercussions. Mrs. Lee, a friendly and outgoing woman, had always loved chatting with her neighbors. She enjoyed the camaraderie and the opportunity to connect with others. During one of these regular exchanges, she made an offhand comment about her daughter-in-law. What she intended as a lighthearted remark, however, was soon misinterpreted. Before long, her daughter-in-law had caught wind of the comment, and the misunderstanding took on a life of its own. The result was a fractured relationship that Mrs. Lee had never anticipated. What started as a harmless observation transformed into a source of tension. The incident forced Mrs. Lee to reflect on her own behavior. She realized that her casual conversations, often filled with off-the-cuff remarks, may have inadvertently sown seeds of discord. She understood that frequent visits, while well-meaning, can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. The lesson Mrs. Lee learned was a painful one. We must be mindful of our words, especially when they involve others. The experience left Mrs. Lee with a newfound respect for the power of communication. She now takes great care to ensure that her conversations remain positive, avoiding topics that could be easily misconstrued or might touch on sensitive matters. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that once words are spoken, they cannot be undone. By carefully choosing our words and respecting others' boundaries, we can help create a more harmonious community and build stronger, more respectful relationships. The strain of economic disparities. Another lesson I want to share involves the subtle tension that can arise from differences in economic status. In today's fast-paced world, people often prefer solitude or limit social interactions to avoid uncomfortable situations. A significant reason for this is the widening gap between different economic groups, even within the same neighborhood or family. This disparity is especially evident when families of varying financial means interact regularly. Take, for instance, a wealthy family that socializes frequently with a family of more modest means. The wealthier family may not intentionally flaunt their success, but the sheer contrast in lifestyles, whether it's the size of the house, the cars they drive, or the vacations they take, can create an uncomfortable dynamic. The less affluent family may begin to feel inadequate, or worse, envious. This unease can lead to tension, making social interactions more difficult. The less wealthy family might start to measure their own worth against the wealth and material success of others, creating a cycle of comparison that detracts from their personal satisfaction. This pressure to keep up can lead to dissatisfaction and an endless pursuit of things that don't necessarily contribute to happiness. In response, many individuals begin to withdraw from socializing. They prioritize independence, focusing on their own growth and well-being rather than comparing themselves to others. This approach helps reduce feelings of envy and cultivates a deeper sense of inner peace. As people age, particularly in their 60s and beyond, this mindset becomes even more important. After spending decades building careers, raising families, and accumulating material wealth, many come to realize that true happiness doesn't lie in possessions or social standing, but in peace of mind, self-acceptance, and living authentically. The value of health in later years. Health is another crucial factor that becomes more pronounced as we age. Imagine reaching 60 and being in good health without the challenges of chronic illnesses. That would indeed be a rare blessing, one that is the result of both good fortune and years of conscious effort. Mrs. Lee, in her early 60s, can attest to this. For many years, she neglected her health, not realizing how much of an impact it would have on her family. Her disregard for her well-being eventually led to frequent hospital visits and a considerable strain on her loved ones, particularly her children. The turning point came when Mrs. Lee overheard her son discussing the immense stress of caring for her. That moment of realization was a wake-up call. Mrs. Lee understood that her declining health was not just her problem. It was affecting the people who cared for her most. She decided to make a change. Over the next several months, Mrs. Lee made significant lifestyle adjustments, changing her diet, getting more exercise, and focusing on her mental well-being. The results were remarkable. Mrs. Lee's health improved dramatically, and the burden on her children eased considerably. Her experience is a testament to the fact that as we age, our health becomes more valuable than any material wealth we might accumulate. Poor health can lead to unexpected medical expenses, straining not just finances but family relationships as well. Prioritizing health ensures not only a better quality of life, but also reduces the emotional and financial burdens on loved ones. Family and success, what truly matters. The final lesson I want to share involves the hollowness of success if it comes at the expense of what really matters: family. Mr. Tran's story is a poignant reminder of this truth. From the outside, Mr. Tran appeared to have it all: a thriving career, wealth, social standing, and a beautiful family. However, beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. Mr. Tran made a catastrophic decision to engage in an affair. This betrayal shattered the trust and love that had once held his family together. The consequences of this decision were far-reaching, as the once perfect family dynamic unraveled. Despite all the wealth and success Mr. Tran had achieved, he found that these external achievements could not fill the void created by the loss of his family's love and trust. His story teaches us that while financial success and status can be rewarding, they are ultimately hollow if they come at the expense of personal relationships. Mr. Tran, at the age of 60, found himself facing an unexpected and life-altering crisis. His wife, feeling betrayed and exhausted by years of neglect, decided to leave him. She took their children with her, seeking a fresh start away from the pain caused by his actions. The weight of this decision hit Mr. Tran hard, forcing him to confront the void in his life. What followed was a painful journey of self-reflection, as he was forced to acknowledge the deep emptiness left behind by the loss of his family. Despite his material wealth and high social standing, Mr. Tran realized that he had sacrificed something far more valuable than money, accolades, or possessions. In his pursuit of success and recognition, he had neglected the very people who should have mattered most: his wife and children. Now, standing at the crossroads of his life, the achievements that once felt so significant seemed meaningless in comparison to the family he had lost. The recognition he had gained throughout his career, the luxuries he had accumulated, and the lifestyle he had worked so hard to build paled in comparison to the relationships he had allowed to deteriorate. Mr. Tran's painful realization serves as a poignant reminder of the true nature of happiness and success. It underscores an essential lesson that so many of us forget. Fulfillment and contentment in life are not found in wealth or status, but in the relationships we nurture. Our families, our loved ones, and the bonds we share with them are the foundation of a truly meaningful life. When we lose sight of this, we risk not only the joy and support they provide, but also the very essence of our well-being. This story serves as a powerful testament to the importance of honesty, respect, and loyalty. Neglecting these values can lead to immense regret, as Mr. Tran experienced firsthand. His journey illustrates the consequences of losing sight of what truly matters. It teaches us that no matter how successful we become, our relationships with others should always remain our top priority. In doing so, we create a life that is rich in love, fulfillment, and genuine happiness. One of the greatest lessons Mr. Tran learned was that emotional well-being is integral to physical health. As we reach our 50s and 60s, it becomes increasingly important to maintain a positive mental outlook. Research has shown that emotional health plays a crucial role in our overall well-being, reducing the risk of chronic illnesses and accelerating recovery from sickness. Adopting and cultivating a positive mindset can have far-reaching effects on our lives, especially as we age. It can improve not just our physical health, but also our decision-making abilities, cognitive functions, and relationships with others. Maintaining a positive attitude helps reduce stress, which is known to have detrimental effects on our bodies, leading to chronic conditions and a weakened immune system. By focusing on the positive aspects of life, we not only become more resilient to health challenges, but also enhance our capacity to handle life's complexities with grace and ease. A positive mindset fosters empathy and better communication, strengthening our relationships and improving the quality of our interactions with others. As we enter our 60s, it's vital to reflect on our lives acknowledging both our accomplishments and the lessons we've learned along the way. This stage of life offers a unique opportunity to appreciate the journey we've undertaken, to celebrate our successes, and to find gratitude in the experiences we've had. It's a time to reflect on what we've achieved and the growth we've experienced, ensuring that we enter the next phase of our lives with a deep sense of fulfillment. In the years that follow, it's essential to focus on embracing the simple pleasures in life. Whether it's spending time with loved ones, enjoying a peaceful walk in nature, or reflecting on our achievements, these moments are what ultimately enrich our lives. Learning to appreciate solitude, to enjoy our own company, and to reflect on what truly matters can significantly enhance our quality of life. This mindset shift not only improves our emotional well-being, but also prepares us to face future challenges with resilience and strength. A positive mental outlook isn't just beneficial for our health, it's a key ingredient in living a life that is rich with meaning and purpose. It enables us to approach aging with grace and confidence, making the most of each stage of life. Rather than dwelling on what we have lost, we can focus on the opportunities that lie ahead, the lessons we've learned, and the ways in which we can continue to grow. Reflecting on this, let's take a moment to consider how we can apply these lessons to our own lives. What have we learned from Mr. Tran's story? Perhaps it's the importance of prioritizing our loved ones and nurturing our relationships. Maybe it's recognizing that true happiness isn't found in wealth or status, but in the connections we build and cherish. Whatever it may be, I encourage you to think about how you can incorporate these lessons into your own life. We would love to hear from you. Share in the comments below one key lesson you've taken from this video and how you plan to implement it in your own life. Your insights could inspire others on their journey toward happiness, fulfillment, and self-growth. If you found this video valuable, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us continue to bring meaningful content that can make a real difference in the lives of our viewers. Together, we can learn, grow, and make the most of every stage of life. Let's keep pushing forward, embracing the lessons life has to offer, and ensuring that our journey remains one of fulfillment, love, and happiness. Stay tuned for more content that will inspire and uplift you. And remember, every step we take toward personal growth is a step toward a brighter future.